Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. I've bought the Montage M8X. Yep, it's huge. And at the moment I'm still learning the in and outs of this big, huge and complex and deep synthesizer. So I hope I can get some good videos and music out of this machine. But I feel it will still take some weeks or even months before I can say something substantial about this synthesizer without making a fool out of myself. But here's one little thing that absolutely triggered me about the Montage, and that's the implementation of the Goblin's patch on this synthesizer. I mean, here, listen to this. For real. What even is this? I mean, this particular patch always should be a tech demo of that synthesizer. For example, listen to the Goblin's patch on the MU2000 from 25 years ago. It sounds like this. Or the best version of the Goblin's patch, which was on the Kawai G Mega from the early 90s. I mean, this patch should be a tech demo, it should evoke a sense of mystery and adventure, and above all, it should sound totally huge and big and evocative. Which sadly absolutely isn't the case with the Montage M8 version of this. So today my idea was I'm going to rectify this and create my own version of the Goblin's patch on the Montage with everything I've learned so far and show you how I do this using the AWM engine. And if you think that's interesting, please join me in this video. Here we go. Okay, the Goblin's patch usually is made up from multiple parts. One part is a warm pad, and on top of that there are some wind noises and some sparkling sounds usually. We'll start with the warm pad. On the Montage, let's first initialize the sounds. We can go to category here, choose the init patch. We have multiple engines you can choose from here. We're going to use AWM2. This is sample-based subtractive synthesis. The default patch is a piano. But let's change that. Go back to performance mode and then press the edit button. What we want to do here is to go to element 1. Then we want to go to oscillator. We want to choose a saw wave sound. The category here will be synthesizers, but I just search for saw. Now we can choose from some of those saw wave sounds. I think I'll use this one. Now we can go back. We want to work on the filter because warm pad always is a result of low pass filtering. So low pass means low frequencies can pass through and all other frequencies are reduced or cut away even. So we're going to use a 24 decibel low pass filter here. Now we can work on the cutoff. By the way, on this synth we have an extra screen with quick access to all those parameters. So I can always use that if I want to. Let's work on this screen. It's easier for you to read here. Next thing we want to do is to add a little bit of motion to this, and the easiest way to do that is to use one of the filter envelopes. So each of the elements on an AWM voice has its own filter envelope. So what does it mean? We can gradually change over time the amount of filtering that is happening. We have attack, decay and release here. As you can see, we've got two rows here. They are used for the time and the amount of filtering that's going on. We can use these knobs here to adjust this quickly. We want a little longer decay time here, perhaps. Next thing is working on the amplitude envelope. We want a slow attack and a long release here. Let's adjust the filter attack just a little bit. Alright, and now let's work a little bit on the LFO. This is a low frequency oscillator. The sound is a little bit static at the moment. We want more motion and liveliness. We can use an LFO for this. We want this to fade in a little bit, like this. And here we can adjust the strength the LFO has on filter, amplitude and pitch modulation. So let's change this just a little bit. So let's reduce the speed a bit. A little bit of pitch modulation won't hurt. Yeah, and that's the first part done, the warm pad. The next thing I want to work on is a choir sound. We're going to use element 2 for this. You need to turn this on and then let's search for waveform and let's search for choir. Let's listen to some of these. Let's use this one, the boys choir A. What we want to do here is to add a bandpass filter, so we want to mask the fact a bit that this is a choir sound. Let's use the bandpass filter for this. So on the filter screen, let's adjust the filter a bit. Let's add some more resonance. Right, and now we want some motion here, so let's use the filter envelope and add some attack time and some release time. Now let's also adjust the strength of this filter. Let's dial this down a little bit, like this. And once again, on the LFO page, let's add a little bit of pitch and filter modulation and amp modulation. Reduce the speed significantly for around 10 or 8. Should be okay. Let's listen to this. Let's work on the amplitude a little bit, so we have a slow attack and a very long release once again. Next, let's add some wind sounds, and this is one of the oldest tricks in the book. So we use element 3 of 8 for this. One AWM patch on the Montage can hold up to 8 oscillators, so to speak. And what we want to do here is we want to turn this on and then search for a waveform noise. Let's listen to this. What we're searching for is white noise. it is, let's use that white noise. What we want to do here is to apply another bandpass filter to this. Go to the filter page, use another bandpass filter, and then reduce the cutoff frequency a bit while listening to this. Let's add a little bit of resonance to this so the wind whistles. Now, once again, we want to have some motion going on here, so let's increase the attack. Let's adjust decay and release a bit, and now we've got this. Once again, use the LFO to adjust the filter and amp depth here. We can use these faders here to adjust the volume of each oscillator. Nice. Next one. The fourth part is this sparkling sound. So the idea here is to add another saw wave and then have a filter controlled by a random LFO working on it. The Montage doesn't have a sample and hold LFO, which would be ideal for this, but there's another tool which is even more powerful in this synthesizer. Let's take a look at this. So here's element 4. I'll turn it on and I'll select another saw wave here, search for category, and then just enter saw. We're using that CS80 saw here. Sounds like this. So exit. Now we're going to work on the filter. This is going to be a high pass filter. We'll add a lot of resonance here. What we want to do now is to add just a little bit of the normal LFO, and as you can see here, we only have saw wave, triangle wave, and square wave. Let's reduce the speed to something reasonable here. We should be very, very slow. This is not the real LFO, but we'll use a motion sequence of that in just a couple of minutes. We'll add a little bit of pitch modulation, a little bit of filter modulation, a little bit of amp modulation. Now we want to add the motion sequence, and the motion sequence is some kind of user-defined LFO that you can assign to control a certain element of your voice. Let's take a look at that. First thing we want to do is to go to Modern Control and then Control Assignment. And then we want to choose Motion Sequencer Lane 1 here, which already is the case, and add another destination. The destination we're going to use is Element and then Filter Cutoff. We only want this to do its job on element number 4, which contains our saw wave here, so we can turn off anything else. We're going to use a user curve here. I've prepared something. You can edit your own LFO curves here, so to speak. Let's take a quick look at that, but don't waste too much time on this. There are a certain number of steps here, and you can assign certain values to these steps. In this example, we have 8 steps in our curve, but that's not everything. Now we can use this curve in a motion sequence. So go to the motion sequencer. We want to turn on the motion sequencer commonly and turn on lane. Now in this lane you can assign those curves you've just seen to one of 16 steps. First thing here is we'll reduce the speed to something like 12 or 13. Now I'll just go back to element 4 and adjust the filter a bit until we hear what the motion sequence is doing there. So let's go here and reduce this. Oh, and we want to remove the filter envelope from our filter, so on the filter EG screen, reduce the filter depth to 0. Now we can actually hear the motion sequencer doing its thing on our filter, and we can adjust this here to be a little bit higher again. Alright, now let's go back to our motion sequencer and edit this. We want to use not the standard curve here, but the one I prepared. So go to user, then this one. And now we can adjust the strength of this curve over time. And also adjust the length. I think a length of 8 is absolutely sufficient here. This is already quite good. Now let's go back to our element and adjust the normal filter LFO so we get a little bit more smooth motion here. Okay, now let's use this element here to reduce the loudness of this effect a bit. And let's also adjust attack and decay on the amp envelope so we have a smoother motion here. The last thing you want to do to finish this sound is we'll add effects. So this is on the Commons page here, so go back to this and then go to the Effects tab. Now we can go to the Insert A page. We have two insert effects here. First one will be a chorus effect. And the second one will be a delay effect. Okay, the last thing is we want to go to the performance page and then to the mixing screen, and then here's the reverb send for this patch, and we'll increase this a bit. Yeah, I think this is much better than what Yamaha themselves came up with, don't you think? I'll adjust a little bit here and there, and then a short demo, and that's the end of this video. Yeah, and that's it for today. The Goblins patch, or a better version of this, made by myself. So if you think this was an interesting YouTube video, please do the YouTube thing. As always, thanks for watching. See you again very, very soon. Bye bye.